guys, it is Portal Maker here. I'm back to do another little drawing tutorial for my friend on Tumblr. I'm sure a lot of you know that there's been very crazy stuff going on, and I've really been wanting to work on some projects again just to kind of keep myself sane. So as you can see, very limited setup. Got my laptop there. My mic is plugged into it. It's just kind of pointing at me from the side. And I just wanted to go over a couple things from Adira. One thing that I've learned about her mouth, and trying to explain how in the world to draw like her calves and boots. So yeah, and I've done both of those things before in another picture. I'll show you real quick. This is a screenshot that I did freehand, just looking at the screenshot and then drawing it by freehand on a separate piece of paper. So I'm going to try and recreate that a little bit for you guys. So with Adira's mouth, her basic shape is a trapezoid, if I can remember correctly. So just kind of, she's got that shape. So basic trapezoid shape here, and for making her mouth you can kind of add on to it. I would say just add certain curves and lines to kind of show where her lips separate, and kind of how her bottom lip, which would be kind of end with this side of the trapezoid, it's actually got a bit of a downwards curve because she actually has a mouth. So I'll try and show you how, like, what process I would go through turning this trapezoid shape like into her actual mouth. So you got that line there to kind of show, like, hey, this is her mouth, this is where her lips separate. And I like this shape better, honestly, so I'll try and do it on this one as well. So that's like the basic shape. But like I said, I think this bottom lip down here does have a slight curve, so I would add a little something down here just to kind of make it look a little more human-like and less strict polygon shape. So yeah, that's kind of the basic shape there. And I think if you look at her from like a side angle, like a profile angle as well, you can kind of tell that she's got a bit of like a pouty shape. Let's see if I were to go up here. This is like entirely from memory. I may have to pull up a separate photo so I make sure I'm doing this right. Let's see. Ignore the side profile. That is not a good one. I need to actually have it in front of me because I've never actually drawn her from a profile before. I just remember that kind of shape there. But I have practiced a little bit with just like basic expressions with Adira's mouth, because you want to have her like smile, and of course she's got this kind of trapezoid shape here, so kind of extend the top lip up as you would if you're just drawing a basic, curvy smile, and just kind of add on from the bottom. Same thing, you gotta have that shape. It's just kind of the upward curve. Let me see. I think when she frowns, the trapezoid shape is just kind of like really accentuated, because she already has kind of her neutral look is already kind of semi-frownish, but if you kind of extend it, just make this version here, you just extend that downwards look and you kind of curve the lower lip in the other direction, and then take out this line here. of course, you gotta take the actual separation of her lips and kind of like draw them down to those more extreme corners as well. So, yeah. Messy sketch, but I think you can kind of see where I'm coming from. And for the smile one, obviously, when you have those corners of her mouth kind of pulled up into more of a smile look, you gotta get rid of these original trapezoid sides, and you gotta take her lips and pull them up as well, pull up the corners, and then bring them down into, you know, this original shape here. And again, this is a very quick sketch. This is not super nice and pretty. I would say actually these corners here are way too straight up. I would say this second one down here is a lot closer to her natural lip shape, the way it's drawn in the show. So I'll try and do another smile that looks just a little more accurate, just looks more like her. Let's see if I can do it a little bit better here. Her lower lip is, I believe, a whole lot bigger, or at least the same size as her upper lip, so definitely the separation between her lips, definitely bring that way up here. Hopefully you guys can hear my voice okay, because the mic's a little bit farther, so my voice is a little quieter than normal. To be such a dramatic upturn. I want it to be like a little smoother. Excuse me. Sorry, you guys could not see that. So yeah, trying to find that balance between where the lower lip would come out and where the upper lip kind of comes. Finding that balance, so that you could get that smile, you get that happy look, but you know, you're not taking away from her natural lip shape. So make sure you guys can see it okay. And of course, this is like up against the edge of the page. I'm sadly not giving myself a ton of room to work with here, but we will figure it out. Yeah, it's gonna go a little bit farther. Just kind of pull it out there. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And of course, I know not everybody would erase all their extra messy lines like these quite as quick as I do. You know, some people, they can sketch and they can have just masses of scribble lines. I cannot do that. If I left my masses of scribble lines on the pieces, I would get lost in my own art very quick. I would not be able to figure out what is the actual line I'm trying to focus on. So So hopefully you guys can understand, and if you're watching this transformation process from just kind of a neutral trapezoid shape, adding the line where her lips separate, and then just kind of extending it into a smile, just trying to get that curve in. And of course, you know, I think looking at looking at just the way this transformation is going and watching her in the show, I think once you do turn her face into more of a smile, it kind of loses that trapezoid shape. I'm going to add that nice little curve, if you remember. I gave her kind of a curve for her lower lip. Just looks a little more human than that strict trapezoid shape. So trying to round that out really nicely. Get rid of all these old confusing lines, so you can hopefully see it more clearly. But yeah, once you take Adira's like trapezoid shaped mouth and you smooth it out, you add all the little more curves that just make it look more like a human mouth with human lips, that trapezoid shape does disappear. Obviously you can see like the ghost lines of what was originally there. You can see how the top lip, it's curving into a smile, but it's got these points, right here and right here. That is where the trapezoid points originally were. And right here and right here, that's another spot where the trapezoid points originally were. I took that basic shape and I just kind of expanded it so you get an actual smile. And again, I'm glad I got this right. Again, her lower lip much larger than her upper lip, the way that she was designed. So that's just a good way, I think, to start. If you want to draw Adira's mouth, make a nice trapezoid. If you want to make it to a smile, take that lower trapezoid point, pull it up, take the upper trapezoid point, pull it up, make sure you extend it outward as well as upward so that you get not just a natural proportion for her mouth, but also just a proportion that looks like her face. Because Adira, she's got her own mouth shape, and when she smiles, she looks like Adira. She doesn't look exactly like Hector or Rapunzel. I will say Cassandra's lips are very similar. If you want to draw Cassandra's lips, I would say definitely study Adira's, because Adira's are basically just a thicker version. If you look at Adira's lips versus Cassandra's lips, this is Adira. Cassandra's lips would be probably the same, but just a little bit thinner. So that's where I'm going to cut off this one, because again, I don't want to get restricted from posting and uploading, but I will try and get the one about her feet done and uploaded today as well. It should be simple and quick. Again, nice little preview. This is what I've done for her feet in the past, so I'm going to try and do a little tutorial on how to capture her magnificent sword lady calves with her teeny tiny little feet that could absolutely take your head off if she wanted to.